acceptance.
Hey, welcome to the tech capital of the world, Kernersville, North Carolina. Kevin, it is a beautiful day here in Tech Town.
It is. It is. I haven't been out today, actually.
Yeah, I've been out.
I've been busy. I've been busy. We recorded our podcast last night, so I've been editing that all morning. I don't think I've stepped a foot out the door today. Some days I never do. Working from home, I guess sometimes. Like you just forget to go outside. I don't know.
I got that pesky commute of 7 minutes. So.
Right. That's one thing I don't get to do that. So we decided today we're just gonna do a full NPC TikTok style stream. So whenever you want to just go, we're gonna be, whatever you put in chat, we'll just keep saying over and over and over again. And if you guys haven't seen this trend yet,
coding.
Exactly. .net. If you guys haven't seen this yet, it's probably a good thing you haven't seen it, to be honest.
Right.
But go look up NPC TikTok. That's non-playable character TikTok. If you haven't seen this yet, you'll be shocked at what we use the internet for these days.
I don't think you should look at it. I think I'm hoping this trend dies an early death.
Hey, I don't know. I think next week we'll be doing our own NPC TikTok stream. Watch for it right here. Exactly. It's all tech related though.
Yeah.
So whatever emojis you spam in chat, we'll just keep saying them. We'll have something for everything. Yeah. Definitely after this, go check it out, everybody, because you need to be aware of what's happening on the internet, even if you think it's absolutely insane.
It's insane. I don't know if you need to be aware of it.
Well, I don't know. I think you do, because you're gonna have to get the jokes about it, because that's the funny thing about it.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
You gotta understand the memes. The memes are still good.
Exactly. I wish I could unwatch it too. Kevin showed it to me this morning. I'm like, what is this? We were actually last night.
It's last night. I actually made the rest of the Not Know crew watch it live. Like we watched it for all of about 19 seconds. I think before everybody was like, please turn it off.
Yeah, 8 seconds in, it was a must I could do.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Right,
it's close to waterboarding. I think it's right there with it.
I don't know. Maybe
see for more than an hour, you're ready to give up the nuclear codes.
Maybe. Winter Soldier says TikTok is cancer. Whatever your opinion of TikTok, it's definitely different. Some people see it as bad. Some people love it. I don't know. I have it. Not that I use it a whole bunch, but I do have it. So we thought today, we'd talk about investing in you. So what's your kind of thought on this? This was your idea. What was your
this is my idea. And here's where this comes from. So if you're in one of the courses that you've taken from me, I'm not talking about you. Okay, this is like a generalization over the years of us working with students all over the planet. But if you think I'm talking about you, then listen up. All right, because I'm not, but I think this will help a lot of people.
But maybe
out.
It works, yeah.
A lot of people, when they approach coding, and they don't approach it as a career, they approach it as something like it's work, or a lot of times you look at fitness, for example. You go to the gym and it's like a job, and there's some guys that just approach fitness as a lifestyle, and so they have better results than other people that just okay, I got to hit the treadmill again, and so we have to change our mindset around this, because I really think coding in general, you should be investing in you, and think of you as a mini corporation. Even if you're not self-incorporated, the skill set that you develop is the skill set you're going to trade on for the next 5 to 10 or 15 years, or maybe even 20 years, and it's going to return to you a lot of money, if you're pretty good at this. So you need to learn to invest in you. So every activity you do should be okay, I'm going to prove my skill set. I'm going to prove me as my person, maybe something about my health or the equipment I use or whatever I'm doing. I'm investing in me as a developer, so that I can become the best developer in the planet, which will allow me to trade for higher salaries or better jobs or better work-life balance, whatever it is you're looking for. Coding can get you in those kind of segments, but you got to invest in you. And the trend I see is people don't want to put forth a lot of effort, especially when things change. there's a change in the industry. They just don't want to put in the effort of relearning. They don't want to invest in themselves again. They're like, I'm not going to learn that. Or we've had people in our boot camp that think this is too hard. I'm not going to go through this effort to do this, and so they drop or quit or whatever it is. And they're not invested. They don't look at it as they're investing in me. A lot of times they think that we have to perform for Coder Foundry, or we perform for a boss, or we perform for a job. I have to do this for a job. And you see this coming back in tech Twitter where they're like, I don't like coding for this guy because all I'm doing is buying him another BMW. And that's like the weirdest thing to me to think. It's like, no, you're improving your skill set so that he can pay you. And then because you know how to code, you don't like him, you can leave and you go do something different. So these are all the things that I think of. Now, some of these are things that you can buy, and so don't get mad at us, if there's a link in there. That's not our goal here. We're not a big affiliate marketing company. That's not how we make a living here. But these are real things that we think change you as a developer, and it's just things you can consider, you can post into. Now, if you see a product in there that we may recommend, you're like, I can't afford that. Like, that's okay. There's used options. There's free options. There's, you can like, I'm going to put this on my list to do. You don't have to do all this today.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do any of these, and you can still break in as a developer. We're just saying, like, invest in you and think about these things over the long term.
Yeah, so we thought about what we thought about this. We thought about some physical things. So we're going to talk about some physical things. We also talk about some like non-physical things. There's some kind of software-y type things too, and some other things we thought about. We kind of brainstormed this morning on this and kind of put together our list. This is kind of what we're going to talk about. So, what's your kind of what will be your number one on the list?
Number one, and this has been my thing before they were trendy. I've had one of these. Okay, so like before Jack Bauer was on 24, I've had one of these things, which I think is where this phrase started, is a chair. Now, I'm specifically, we're not sponsored by Herman Miller, but the Herman Miller chair, in my opinion, is the best chair on the planet. And so if you don't have a good chair in general, what can happen is, especially over long periods of time. So what do we do as a coder? Typically we sit down, we're coding 8 hours a day. And if you have a bad chair, it leads to bad posture, lower back pain, hamstring pain, like pinched nerves in your back, where you just can be uncomfortable. And then when you're uncomfortable, you don't think as well, you don't perform as well. But long term, literally a bad chair can lead to injuries.
Right.
So what I've always done, man, and even before I started Coder Foundry, I would go to when I was working in the office at the companies I worked in, I would always buy a chair and tell the guy that I was working for, I'm bringing my chair in because this chair is crap. Like, this hurts my back. And I would wheel it in, and people always looked at me like, who's this guy bringing his own chair? Like, that's so weird. That's so
You're that guy.
Yeah, you're that guy, But I invested in my chair, and I always had to wheel my chair out when I left, which is kind of weird too. But like,
you're not walking out of the box. You're walking out with the box on the chair.
Yeah, I'm rolling it out. Like, hey, I'm taking my Herman Miller with me. So like, why does Bobby get a Herman Miller? Well, I bought it. So like, there's 3 chairs that they make, and they've been making them for a long time. Now in the company here, I've literally bought over time since 2002. I would bet you I have purchased 200 Arion chairs over time.
Yeah, and this is not to replace chairs, because I'm not sure we've ever replaced any of them. We've only ever sold them off when we didn't need the extras.
Yeah, and so they've lasted. Some of the chairs have been around for 12 years. Some of them have, over time broken. But like, in general, this Arion chair is the most durable office chair ever. It's also the most comfortable, in my opinion, ever. And there's all kinds of options you can get on this, so it is kind of expensive. But what I would say, this chair is so popular, I guarantee you can go on eBay and get this thing for $400 or $300. Now, one thing I will say about this, they come in sizes. And so if you're big or small, know what size that you're buying, okay, before you go on eBay and buy a used chair, or if you order one brand new, okay? $1,000 for Arion is, so you may need, if you're me, you may need the size C,
This is to do with the size of the the seat part, right? Yeah. It's not the height, right? Because the height obviously is adjustable. It's the size of the seat part. Yeah.
Yeah.
The size of this.
It's the best chair on the planet. Now the chair that I like the most from Herman Miller is the Embody. That's the one that I personally have. Is the Embody chair. So there's that's the one that's in my office now, and I'm sitting in right now. I'm sitting in a Marion chair. So
okay, this is the.
So it's just
Embody's
that's
the one.
Actually my color. Yeah.
Okay, I always think
right
about
there.
the Embody. I always think about the movie, the Scarlett Johansson movie, where she's the AI thing. I forgot what the movie's called. But it's in the movie, and it's because it's very distinct because the back of it is extremely distinct when you look at it.
This chair is amazing. It's not for everybody, but man, my chair looks almost identical to that white frame with the. I have a little bit different. I have the blue in there, just exactly like that.
Yep.
So amazing chair. Now we also have Marion's, which we like too, and that's another chair that we have currently right now, and we have them custom ordered in there in orange. That's the Arion, and we have the Mirion.
Yeah, Mirion's the one with the plastic back, isn't it? That's this
exactly. We like those.
Mirror.
Yeah.
It's a mirror.
That exact chair right there is what we have in our office. All the
Foundry
it is. Instructors sit in that chair.
Yeah,
it's the exact chair.
Yep.
It's funny that shows.
These are a little bit cheaper, right? I think. Oh well,
not really.
A little bit.
Just different.
To the
they have a different handles, different little thing. I like them. I like all of these are really great. So So let's say you're Bobby, you're crazy. I can't pay $1,000 for a chair. Look at used options. There's a lot of these in there. You can get an Arion chair for easily $350 used, and probably on eBay even cheaper.
Look for. I tell you, the best place to look for them too is look at like estate sales. When offices like move or go out of business or something like that, you'll pick them up there. Because if you walk into any bank, this is the chair you're going to see. You're going to see Aeron chairs in every bank you walk into, and they have hundreds of them. Any large company, every large corporation. When I worked at DHL, Aeron chairs in every single office, and there's thousands of employees. They have literal thousands of chairs. When one of those offices closes down, they tend to sell that stuff on. So you can definitely get it from that kind of.
And I will say, I'll go back and say again, it's not about it being trendy or whatever. This is going to save you from back pain, pinched nerves in your spine, those kind of things. It helps you. Yes, we're telling you right now, it's a must-have.
Yeah, I mean, tell your wife.
Yeah.
It's
now there's other brands out there.
Right,
Kevin has bucked the Coder Foundry trend, and he has a different chair. So just to let you know, we didn't make him. We're not sponsored by Herman Miller. We didn't make him sit in it. So he has his other chair.
I bought a totally different brand. I bought this. I bought a Steelcase chair. I bought a Steelcase Gesture. Which is similar. It's similar price-wise. They're still very expensive. I get it, but I just like the design of this one a little bit better. And actually, I bought this like right at the beginning of COVID. So like options were like I had to wait a long time if I wanted to get a Herman Miller. This was a little bit less of a wait, although I still waited months for it. But it had similar reviews. It's basically the Steelcase version of that chair, is what it is. It's almost the same price-wise, I think. They were a little bit cheaper when I bought mine. They've gone up a little bit, but so has everything, right? So he's talking about $1,100 to $2,500 if you get it in like leather with stuff on it. But you know,
yeah, you don't need leather. I would say that leather is even like probably not what I would want. It looks cooler, but it's hotter and you can sweat and stuff.
Yeah,
like
get something more long-term. Get one of these nicer materials. I think mine was about $1,100 maybe when I got $1,000. So they've gone up a bit, and you can get these on sale too. Wait for these to go on sale.
And there's other resellers out there you can go to, like with Herman Miller. I think it's like Madison Office Furniture has them on sale all the time.
Yep.
So there's different places you can look. Obviously, eBay, estate auctions. But investing in a great chair is going to allow you to be better at your job because you're more comfortable when you're doing it.
Yeah. If I just go, I wonder what you can actually get for. If I just go and kind of Google it. There you go, Madison Seating, $575. I guess that's a used one, probably. Carbon. So yeah, there you go. You can buy they do change generations on these too, so you can get these much cheaper than you can from retail. So yeah, I know that's still a chunk of money. I get it, but when you start narrowing it down, Like, you're gonna buy, if you guys sit in your chairs every day, you've noticed, like, over time, you're gonna end up buying like 5 different office chairs. I did before I bought this one.
Because they break.
They
I mean,
break.
like, so if you,
Yeah.
the pistons on the bottom, and
Yeah.
like if you go to Office Depot or whatever, you get a $100 chair.
Yep.
That thing typically breaks, and it doesn't go up and down, and it's also not very comfortable.
Yep.
Or the arms fall off, or the back breaks off of it, and then you're buying another one. And this, I promise you, you can keep this chair for 5 or 6 years, easy, maybe 10.
Easily. I mean, so we've had some for over a decade, and they're still just as good as when we got them.
Yep.
So yeah.
Very well made, very durable, and comfortable. That's it.
Anybody else in chat have any great chair recommendations that they like?
Yeah.
That I can share. That would be kind of cool too. We've talked about Herman Miller and Steelcase, but anybody have any others?
Who wants to try the China Temu knockoff?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I bet they have one. Oh, well, if I go on Temu on my machine here, I don't want to because I'm just going to keep getting ads for everything from there if I do.
Yeah.
Because they're notoriously follow you around. But I'm sure they have a knockoff one. But, you know, it might look the same, but it's not going to be the same. You might as well just get the cheap one from Office Depot. But it'll look as good.
Repower says, make the chair coated Foundry orange. That's what we did. We have I'm sitting in that orange chair right now.
Mine's like a gray one. It's like a
Mine's
gray
the orange chair right now, so you can see it.
Oh, yeah, you go. You got the orange one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a gray one with a white back. I thought the white looked good with the gray. So what about a desk? What do you recommend for desk-wise? We have a recommendation for this too, like a premium recommendation as well.
So ours is like here at Coder Foundry, and it's probably why we're not as profitable as we could be, is because I invest in premium things. Everything I buy is going to be the premium thing because that's what I want. And I feel bad about, like, if I want something, why would I put a card table for the employees? So like we use a brand for desks that we've used forever. It's called Uplift. I think we've had these since 2018. So like the same desks, and they're amazing quality. They are uber expensive, I would say, if you're looking at a desk, but they do rise up and down. I'm sitting on the Uplift desk right now. This is a bamboo top that I bought in 2018. It looks brand new like it did the day that we bought it.
They do. The tops really last, don't they?
Yeah, it's amazing. And you
so
get
do
an
the
L
legs.
option. Yeah, exactly. Super durable. So even after going up and down, the thing I like about the is the cable management. Everything goes under the desk here. So like if you're worried about cable management, it's got built-in cable management underneath it. The power, they come with power grommets that you can pack everything underneath. And then when you need to change something, we just raise the desk up, and you literally can be in your chair and just slide right under it. Even though I'm like 6'4", and I can like slide right under this desk and work on it, sitting in this chair. Kind of crazy how tall it goes. So it's really nice. You can get an L option, you can get a straight option, but you can stand on it is the main thing. So the two things are adjusting your, you don't want to sit all day, so you do want to stand up. The standing up does a couple things. It releases the muscles in your lower back so that you don't end up with lower back pain. You also don't hunch as much, when you're sitting down. And so you want to keep your posture right. One way to do that is to stand periodically. So you don't have to be the whole time, but 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day. Some people stand longer and code longer. Now, I will say that trying to code while standing is a little different. You do have to get used to it. But I think that's a great investment. Now, do you have to get Uplift? Absolutely not. You can get like things that sit on your desk that lift your monitors up. You can get one of those things. You can get other brands. I think IKEA has a stand option.
Yeah, they do.
Is it great? It's probably okay. Is it Uplift? No. I just tell you that I can tell you I've been in the store. It's okay. I mean, it works. It goes up and down. It's nice. It's cheaper, way cheaper. But like, if you ever bought anything from IKEA,
it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. But like, but these are super nice. Now there's other brands out there that do the exact thing as Uplift. We just like them.
There are a few. Yeah.
Yeah. There's been more since Uplift came to market several years ago. So.
Yeah, I don't have a standing desk here. Mine is just a standard desk here. But I did buy one of these for my wife for her office downstairs.
Yeah.
It was, I think it's one of these straight ones. I don't know how big it is. I don't know if it's the same size as
Yep.
this one. I think it is. I think it's a decent sized one, but it was like $800, something like that. So not crazy expensive. The L ones can get expensive.
But
like,
it gives
like
you
the
more
one you have
desk
there.
space.
They get a lot more desk
I'm on
space.
an L here, so I'm on an L here, so you have lots of room.
Yeah.
And
As you
that's
can imagine,
important
these
sometimes.
require like extra legs. There's an extra motorized
Yeah.
leg, and they're just they require a lot more thing. And I think these are what $1,400, something like that. I think.
Yeah, depending on the
starting.
top you get.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, $1,400 starting, depending on what. Kind
Again, I would look for these things used. If you just don't have, you're like, man, I'd love that, but like that's expensive. And this is an L, so you could get a straight.
Yep.
But like, you could probably find these used as well. But it's gonna be like a beautiful desk. It's also gonna last forever. You'll never have to buy another one. I mean, it goes up and down. It's the main thing. Look, that's
that's crazy good. And you can get,
Yeah.
I mean, the things they have in here, they have some premium options, by the way, too. They have like solid walnut. But as you can imagine, you pay for that. We're not talking about, like, they have walnut laminate too, like, but they actually have solid wood. They have solid walnut. This African mahogany look top. You can go very, very premium on these things.
Yeah, man.
Or you can just go for the bamboo used to be the standard, didn't it? That's now like a thing. They now have these laminate ones. So I think I don't remember.
Sure, those
which one
laminates
Amy
would
got.
be
I think
great.
Amy got this one, and it's fantastic. Like you can't tell it's a
it
laminate.
is.
It looks like solid wood.
Right. The other thing that you can do with this is you can just buy the legs, Kevin, and if you're a woodworker, make your own top. It's like
exactly.
So, and then you just bolt it to the bottom of it, and then it'll move it up and down. So so if you had access to, like, I don't know, what was that stuff Better Call Saul? What was the wood he wanted on his desk?
Oh yeah, I forget. But yeah. It's one of these, isn't it? It's like this thing, isn't it? Isn't it one of these like Acacia things that look like it was this crazy,
Acadia.
like this fancy. Yeah, I remember that part.
He just wanted that desk.
Yeah.
But I do think your desk will also, if you have lots of room on your desk, you don't feel cluttered. For me, I feel more organized. I feel better to do it. A lot of people feel like they can't work unless their desk is neat. And some people say just move it around, but if you have more room, it's easier to stay organized. And a clean desk, for me, is important. So instead of having just stuff everywhere, where you're trying to type and moving the Chinese food away, it's
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Casey said he's been thinking about getting one of those standing desks. Yeah, just get any standing desk. It's gonna be beneficial for sure.
But if you're worried about a brand that's like, is that one good or not? I can tell you, Uplift is fantastic.
Yeah, it is premium, but
it's up here. But it's at the top one in the market, but it's the best one. But it's great.
Yep.
You'll never buy another desk. It'll look beautiful.
Neil said get a relatively cheap one at Costco. Yeah, I've seen the one at Costco, and actually that one at Costco is pretty good. I have seen that one. It seems a little bit more sturdy than the IKEA one that I've seen.
Yeah.
Let's
now
see.
here's my
Varidesk.
Varidesk is cool. Yeah, they
similar,
fit on your main desk and they just go up. Yeah.
Oh, that's the
brand.
portable one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so that works really well, so that you can stand up. Now, here's my hack for our desks here is that we have went and took our ability to work on it one step further. We put mover sliders underneath all the desks here because they're L's and they're kind of big, and now you can just push them with one hand, and they just move.
Because otherwise they are very heavy.
and we can spin them around. It also takes pressure off the joints. These things are put together with a joint in, so if you're trying to move it and trying to like wriggle
if you're moving it on your own, it's kind of tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're very wieldy.
That you can just move them around. So that means we can push them all the way against the wall, and then we pull them out when we need to like hit some cables that are coming at the back of it. Kind of cool.
Yep. And this is a standing desk. We forget to raise it and stand. Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, but you
can
just
set yourself like you can. You should probably set yourself like a timer or something. That's the one way to do it. Set yourself like a schedule. This is the way to do it. When I was in the office and used the standing desk, I would have a schedule. I would try and stick to like, my first hour I would stand, and then an hour after lunch I would stand, and then every other time I'd sit. So at least try to stand at least 2 hours a day with it. Yeah. Didn't always work out depending on what I was doing, or I'd do it based on what I was actually doing. So whenever I went to do a certain task, I'd be like, I got to stand, and it just became like second nature to be like, I got to do that task, right? Time to put the desk up. And I think a lot of these, the more premium ones for sure, definitely have memory as well. So the heights are on memory keys. So you have like a 1 and a 2, one for sitting, one for standing. So you just hit the button and it adjusts to the exact same height every time. So you're not like feeling like, did I put this up high enough? Like,
and that's the other thing about these that that's underrated is sit down desk. Even if you don't sit and you only sit down, you can get it to the right height for you.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be 32 inches or 30 inches,
Yeah.
So if you're tall or short or whatever, you can lower that thing. You want to low ride it, you can low ride it. If you want to keep it up higher and you like typing like this, you can.
You'll kill your back if you like typing like that, though. Please don't.
I know, but like, if that's what you want, that's how you want to roll, you can do it,
You
or
can.
if you want to have like a higher chair, bring your chair up higher and then raise it, whatever. It's infinitely adjustable.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's talk about some hardware then. Now, some of you are going to hate the recommendation we're going to give you hardware.
Yeah.
But we're going to give it anyway. Because you know what we're going to say, right?
Yeah. So what we do here at Coder Foundry is a couple of things that we do. We code a lot, okay, and we're coding on Windows. So like we're definitely, when you come to our in-person class, we're going on Windows. Now, one of the things that we have since moved over to is we have moved over to Apple hardware. Before, we were using all Surface Books, and honestly, I know that everyone says I'm a Microsoft fanboy. They were kind of like underwhelming at best. I mean, like just very underwhelming at best. Like they were
troublesome.
Separate. The heat would separate them. They were kind of underpowered and like not really great.
They were terrible with a dock.
Terrible with a dock. You couldn't keep a screen on. So but the primary thing that we do, and this is what we're recommending, there's a couple things here, is we're running Mac hardware now, M1 and M2 chips. In fact, we just refreshed the instructors. They're all on M2 Mac Minis. They just got them in last week. They love it. The reason we do that, one of the big reasons, is that we can run something called Parallels on it. We'll talk about that too, a VM. Now, VM is a virtual machine that allows us to, if you come into our cohort, we can just reset Windows and we come into a starting point instead of like trying to teach you from our already installed Windows version. So that's really slick. So there's a couple things that are really cool about Parallels. So Parallels allows me to run Mac hardware on the M2. I can license Windows on the Windows side, and then I can code with Visual Studio on the Windows side. And then I can still have Teams and Office and everything on the Mac OS side. I'm using a trackpad, and I just go swipe, and I can swipe between Windows and Mac. It's super easy. It's super fast. Now, what's amazing about the Silicon is Silicon's really fast, and even in Parallels, Windows runs really, really quick. But it's common, I think, and I haven't tested this yet, but I just got some stuff to look at is VM Fusion. VM Fusion now has something, and they're saying that you can run games on Windows inside your VM. And they're talking about like, Call of Duty, 60 frames per second. I haven't tried it yet, but that would be a little game changer if you wanted to buy a Mac Mini. The problem with Mac Minis and you want a game, you kind of can't. There's not really that much out there today, so it's kind of slick. It's in beta preview, but it runs on the M2 hardware, and supposedly you can get like super performance out of it. I haven't tried this yet, but those are the two things. But the main thing is I have a VM, and this is why we're recommending this. You have a VM for your Windows coding environment. So when you need to reset that or make another one, you can.
It's easy.
It makes it easy.
Very easy.
To do. Very easy to do. It takes up a lot of disk space. I get it, but like you can do this, and so that you can definitely. And I love Parallels. Parallels is a fantastic product. It updates all the time, and it updates seamlessly. Very rarely do I have any kind of issue with it. It runs full screen. It runs in window mode. It runs on multiple monitors. It's really slick the way it works.
You can also run like a singular Windows app through Parallels, like it's native in Mac OS, but it runs in a VM on Windows, but you don't necessarily know that. It just runs that application in that. It's really smart. It's really slick.
Yeah. And so, like, for example, if you've ever took in a course from Coder Foundry and you've seen me record something, or if you ever seen me demo Windows in here, I am literally on a Mac machine over on Parallels running OBS. So like I have OBS on the Mac side, screen capturing my Windows on through Parallels, seamless. That's how we record everything. It's really good. So let's go back to the hardware. I think everyone should invest in hardware. Yeah, so like there's a couple of things that I
Mac Pro,
think
right?
there's
We all
really,
need Mac Pros, don't we?
yeah, we need to get the posters.
We all need these fully spec'd out.
Cheese grater, fully specced out, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
start at $7.5 grand. Yeah, you don't need this.
no, no.
Please don't buy this.
So right now, I think I think the best bang for the buck if you want an M2 is the Mac Mini. Now, if you need it portable, obviously there's the MacBook Air, but the Mini is, I think, with 16 gigs of RAM is under $1,000, and we're talking about the computer you're going to use.
It is. This one is. Yeah, if you get the 8-core CPU, 10-core GPU, you can spec it out with 16 gig for $1,000.
Yeah, and I think if you go the other one, even the other one, I think you could even get cheaper.
This one, the 10-core,
the 8-core.
Oh, this one. Oh, this one. Yeah,
it's got 256 storage.
This has just got less storage. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
You can also spec this out.
Yeah,
$800.
Yeah. So what I would do is, the one thing about Mac storage is it's like stupidly expensive. So like what we're doing is, it's very expensive to put this thing to 1 terabyte. Now, unless you just have cash to burn, you can say Code Foundry does, but like that's how we spec'd it out. But if I was on a budget and I wanted a Mac Mini, I would go 256, make sure I could get the OS on it and I could run my VMs on it, and then I'm running everything else off of another drive. Which I'm using a G-RAID, but there's even some Thunderbolt enclosures that the instructors have. They have a Thunderbolt enclosure with an M2 SSD in it, and we can get that for 2 terabytes. Plus, you can get 2 terabytes plus the enclosure and the drive for like, way less.
Yeah.
So less than $800.
Yeah.
So for sure.
Yeah, and if you want it to be portable, so I think Mac Minis are great. Obviously, you need to buy a screen to them, which we'll talk about in a second. If you want it to be portable, I'd suggest the MacBook Pro, not the MacBook Air. The Pro, you can get them from one of the M chips ones from $2,000. I guess you are paying for it, but you don't need the screen. So
you can get a 13-inch maybe or something. Is that what it is?
Yeah, there's a 13. Well, the 13 is the old model. I think 14 is the newer one, and then the 16 is obviously the bigger one. You can go up to...
So it depends on what you need. It's going to get expensive on that, but you got to consider also have a monitor in it. It's also portable. There's some things about it. If you want a laptop, it is nice. I mean, they're super quick. I know you're editing on an M1 MacBook. I know that you have that. So,
I have this one, but I have the older M1 Pro version. It's this, this exact one, this middle one.
But stupidly fast. So I think if you found an M1 MacBook used, that's another thing you could look at. I think you can reset the OS on it, and that stuff's going to run great. Make sure all the ports and everything works and that kind of stuff. But like in general, if you found a certified refurbished M1 Pro, I would totally get that thing. It would totally run it. Put slap parallels on it, and you're good to go.
Yep, definitely.
But let's say that you have no money or you have very limited funds, Kevin. I think that one of the things you can do is take your budget laptop. You go to Walmart or whatever, and you buy the cheapest laptop that you can get, and it's slow, okay? And you don't have any money. The number one upgrade is SSD. You can throw an SSD drive in it. You're going to improve the performance of the laptop right away. And then if you're running Visual Studio, I think you need 16 gigs of RAM. That's also an inexpensive upgrade option. You can crack open the monitor and you can, or crack open the laptop and you can put it in. A little bit harder to do on a laptop, but typically they have a way to upgrade it. I will say that's
generally easy.
That's the downside to Mac Mini. Whatever you buy, it is the way it is. It's
What's the downside to every Mac these days? Short of
the
even
hard
the
drive is in the board. Everything is in it. You can't upgrade it. So everything else you have to do, you have to attach a peripheral to it. That's the only downside. So if you want 1 terabyte on your Mac Mini, you need to get it when you buy it because you can't add to it. The only way you can do it is through an external drive. So,
and that's just how the M series chips work now. Yes, they are faster. Yes, they are great, but everything is integrated. CPU, GPU,
that's
and
why
RAM.
They're faster.
It's all on one chip. And exactly, that is why they're faster. So you are giving up that self-upgradability, but the difference between that and an Intel-like machine is insanely night and day at the moment.
It's not even close.
Nuts.
Now, I think on the super high end, I mean, I've looked at a lot of these things. On the super high end, still, if you have an RTX 4090 graphics card, it's going to blow through things that even a Mac Studio Pro can't. It's you know,
Or
it's
games.
just,
It can do
yeah,
games.
games, and even it's in some editing situations, it is like, but you're talking about a $4,000 to $6,000 graphic card, and the amount of power it sucks is crazy. And so, like when you look at a Mac Mini that's pulling down cell phone power out of your wall, you know, maybe you don't care about that, but you know, if you're paying for, you know, power for everybody in the building, it's kind of a big deal, you know. So like, you know, um,
Yep.
so I think it's cool. I mean, but you can also, you know, but in general, build a rig that is fast, that you can code with, that you're not waiting around for. So like, especially when we go into things like Visual Studio or things that have to compile, your computer needs to be responsive and fast so that you can iterate faster. There's nothing, it's so hard when we're teaching in the boot camp, you know, and like saying, all right, let's start this up. And we got to wait 12 seconds for it to come up. What that does is reduce your creativity. It reduces the iterations. It reduces the round trips that you make. And you end up sometimes either not finishing or just getting overall frustrated with the process. And it can make you quit sometimes. PC's so slow, it's so whatever. Now, if you're editing HTML files and CSS and JavaScript, VS Code will practically run on anything. And you can do that. It's the problem when we go to full stack and we have databases and we have server-side things running, whether that's in Visual Studio or Java or whatever you're doing, you need hardware that can run it. And so this is the way I look at it. You know, if you were building houses for a living, you're a framer and you frame houses for a living, you'll want a good hammer. You don't want like a budget hammer from Lowe's, you know, like
Right.
the $8 hammer. You want something that's nice. And I think this will help you out. It's the best investment you'll make. Now, unfortunately, like all hardware, this stuff goes out. But the cool thing about M1 and M2, it's been really resilient. So I have an M1 Studio Pro, and the new ones come out. Am I wanting to get an M2 Studio? No, my thing is like really quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine like me doing it. So I am very impressed with Apple hardware. Windows hardware, not so much. Sometimes it seems like you have to reset the OS quite a bit, you know.
Yeah, we've gone through a bunch of
Yeah.
PC-based hardware in the past, and it's like
Yeah.
you go through it way, way, way quicker because you're like,
Yeah.
wow, this is like obsolete. Like it's slowed down really quickly compared
You can
to
reset
Apple
the
stuff.
OS and you can do all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's just
you know,
a
and
nightmare. It's just a pain.
a nightmare. So I feel like it's really nice to get really great hardware that you code with. So buy the best that you can afford. And if you have a budget one, there's some really cheap options. Like I said, SSD will improve your life dramatically, and then adding more RAM.
Yep.
And you can pretty much do that on any laptop, any desktop computer that you have. You don't have to target the graphics card or the CPU right away. I would look at the SSD first, then the memory, and then you can come back and look at maybe the graphics card. Now,
Somebody did point
streaming,
out here, and Martin says, check the laptop is upgradable. Yeah, some of those
Yeah.
cheap ones these days, I guess, aren't. So
gotta check it.
yeah, gotta check that you can
Generally.
upgrade it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
generally
go to,
most of them you can though. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and you can find if RAM's pretty cheap. SSDs can be a little bit more depending on how big you go, but I mean they're still relatively cheap. They are the RAM's going to be your most bang for buck initially, and then the SSD is going to be the second one.
I saw a 2 terabyte SSD this morning for $39 on Amazon. You can go look right now. Maybe
Really?
I'm wrong, but it was under 100. It was either maybe it's 1 terabyte for 39. Maybe that's what it
Probably.
was. And 74 for 2 terabytes.
Wow.
It was
okay, that's crazy.
Samsung. You can look up Samsung SSD.
Oh,
I
it's
didn't
just,
wanna
these are okay.
recommend-
These are just These are just these are regular SSDs on. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
These on M2.
But they're still
Yeah,
insanely
yeah.
fast.
No, they are. Oh, if you're moving from a physical, if you have an older machine and you're moving from a spinning drive, these are ridiculous. This is like 9-day difference.
Yeah, so like this is you got a 7400 RPM drive or 5400 RPM drive.
Yeah, this is
will
like
change your life.
oh yeah. I remember
It'll
when I
boot Windows in
first
20 seconds.
I remember when I first did this. Here you go. There's a 980 SSD and M2 look for only $50.
This only works if your motherboard supports M2s.
Yeah.
But if you can support an M2, that's also insanely fast.
Yeah, M2 is definitely the way to
that-
go. If you can support it, that's the way to go. And then if you can't, just get a regular SSD.
Practically any any computer, modern computer in the last 10 years, you can put a SATA SSD in.
Yeah.
Practically any desktop.
Yeah.
Now, can you put that in a laptop? No. There's different laptops, a whole different problem. But if you have a budget desktop computer, it's really quick.
Yep. Yeah, these things have come down a lot, haven't they?
Yeah.
They really have. I think I have one of these in mine. I don't know how big mine is actually. That's ridiculously cheap. I have one M2 slot. I have two M2 slots. I filled one, and then I put a regular SATA drive in there as well, just for extra storage, because they were cheap. Put an extra 2 terabytes in or something, and it was, I think I paid $100 or something at the time.
Mm-hmm. I think that'll improve your life. So invest in your rig, invest in your chair, invest in your desk, and invest in your rig, the thing you're coding with. And I think your life's going to be a lot better. Invest in you. If you're coding for a living and you're saying my wife needs to know this is a necessity, what I'm telling you is you have to take care of the moneymaker, which is your butt, and your back, because it's hard to work when you have a broken back, and so it's just, that's how we make a living. And these are the tools of the trade. And that's the way I look at it. Investing in you. Yep. It doesn't have to be a Herman Miller chair, but like get something that's pretty comfortable. If you sit in a chair for longer than an hour and it hurts your back, get a new chair.
Yeah.
I don't know how to tell you that, or just deal with the pain, which is not good.
Which over time is going to be a problem.
Yeah, so, it's a problem.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about keyboard and mice then. This is one of those things that is hyper personalized. I'm going to say this is the most personalized thing in here. So recommending something here is kind of tough. Because everybody has their own kind of preference around things. They just do. But you can get stuff that's more ergonomic. So for the longest time, I used the Apple mouse, and I realized it was actually causing me a hand cramp because it was too small.
Yeah, so it's too small, and you're doing this all day.
Exactly. So I did change my mouse. I bought one of the MX mice. I use it for the Mac. It's right here. Look, one of these.
Yeah. And so the thing about the MX mouse is that you can side scroll with it, which is really slick when you're on Visual Studio or whatever, and your code goes this way. You can slide scroll with your thumb, and then you can down scroll a lot, and you get used to doing those two motions with this mouse. It's pretty slick.
Yep. And they have it. I mean,
that's why we like it.
They particularly point this towards develop. I love this line. Scroll 1,000 lines of code per second. I think that's just like that's the stupidest marketing I've ever heard. but, they're trying to like target this at coders. I get it. And the customizations and stuff you can do, and the macros and stuff you can do on the keyboard is really good. I would say the build quality is super good. Same with the keyboard. I don't have the keyboard. I have a mechanical keyboard because, again, preferences, right? But I will say the keyboard is good. My wife has this keyboard, loves it, thinks it's great. It's low profile keys like a laptop keyboard. Yeah. So if you like that kind of thing, it's quiet.
Clicking noises.
It doesn't make any noises. I just like the clicking noises. What can I say? I like the higher key press. I like the tactile thing of a mechanical, which is again why it's preference, right? Like you can just make sure that whatever you do, it's comfortable for you, right? How you sit on your desk, it's just got to be comfortable.
Yeah, here's a feature that you may not consider when you're buying a keyboard. Like, so you guys out there, I just want to bring something to your attention. A lot of times what happens when us as developers, as coders, over time, we end up collecting hardware. And so like 5 years from now, I've got like 2 machines on my desk or 3 machines on my desk. Having a built-in KVM here, which is allow you to use one keyboard setup that can switch between devices, is flat out amazing. And it's kind of cool. So it's using Bluetooth for one keyboard, probably USB dongle for the other keyboard, and maybe you can wire it in to get but 2 is usually enough where you're switching between 2 devices with the same keyboard set. I know you do that a lot.
Yeah, I do. I have a Mac and a PC, and I use the same keyboard for both. I do use a different mouse because on the PC side, I game sometimes with it, so I do have a wired mouse for the PC, but that's by choice. The MX would work on both.
For that FPS, Kevin, you got to be wired, man.
The MX, it's here. Look, the MX would work on both, but I choose to go for a wired one here, so I have like a. You gotta maximize it, right? So
yeah, exactly.
So I use that one on the PC, but it would work on both. It has a switch on the bottom. There's a little button on the very, very bottom of it right here, and you can switch between 3 different devices. So it's easy to switch. So yeah, I'd say that's a cool feature too. Yeah.
So the other thing is, think about your hand holding this position like this on a small mouse like this for 8 hours a day. You're gonna have hand problems.
Yeah.
And what's our money maker? We're sitting on our butt.
Yeah.
And these hands right here, these hands is what makes you money. Protect these hands the best you can. So find a mouse that feels comfortable to you, that doesn't hurt you. If you're feeling pain in your wrist right here, or you're feeling pain in the tops of your hands from coding, buy a different device. change it up until you can figure out the position that works for you.
Yep.
You know, so if you're doing this at the end of the day, you got the wrong mouse and keyboard. You know, you're just doing something.
Yep. I would say mechanical keyboard wise, just because I have one and I would definitely recommend it. And it's actually not a bad price as this one, this Keychron K2. They do a Keychron Q as well. You can choose your switches, how clicky you want them to be.
You get them in orange.
You can get the
orange.
You can do all kinds of stuff with these, and they have a bunch. People like, depending on size wise that you like, I like the smaller kind of compact keyboard, but you can get the larger, like full size ones as well. These guys, they do go up in price, but I like this one. I think this is a great keyboard for the price, and $70 is like nuts for like You can change out the keys too. I have the white keys on mine with the orange. You can do all kinds of stuff with them. They're very cool. There's a bunch of mechanical keyboards you can get that are really good. Just again, it's a preference though. Not everybody likes these. They don't like the tactile. They don't like the height. They don't like, some people go away from these. They prefer the low profile keys of like a laptop, which the Mac has. But again,
I use a Mac keyboard. Is what I use right now.
Yeah, use the Apple one, don't you?
I use the Apple keyboard.
I don't like the Apple one. I have the Apple one, and I used it for a long time. Yep. But again, I think because it was too low or something, it kind of cramped my hand. That combined with the mouse, and I just switched them both at the same time, and it's been way better since.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Andy Mount had something about the use of a trackpad. I think that's one thing that we're going to mention. So let's just bring that up there.
Oh yeah, what's he say? I tend to grip things too hard, so I use a trackpad. Less efficient, but no strain on my hand. Yeah, I like the trackpad too. You use a trackpad, don't you?
Yeah, I do use the trackpad. So I have the Magic Trackpad from Apple on my desk. I know it's $150. You'd probably find a used one. I use that combined with a mouse and a keyboard, and I'm using the trackpad to switch between desktops. So if you've ever used Apple, it's really good at having multiple desktops. The moment you maximize something, it's a new desktop, which is kind of interesting. It takes a minute to get used to it. Like, hey, where's Chrome? And you have to swipe to find it. I can't. So like, but it allows me to seamlessly switch between Mac OS and Windows OS on the same machine with just a swipe. Really slow. So yeah, trackpad can save your hands a little bit too if you can get used to doing it. Now, the thing about them, if you learn all the gestures on the trackpad, I see Antonio Rayner, one of our director of education here at Coder Foundry, who uses that. Yep. And I watch him do it, and it's like, wow, like I need to learn some some magic there. Like, how are you doing that?
Yeah, that's one of the things I do. I think there's only one gesture I have turned off. Yeah, there's only I forget which one it is. There's one gesture that I have turned off because I invoke it incorrectly all the time. I can't remember which one it is, but there's one I always have to turn off. But the rest of them, I have all of them on because they work great. If I'm using it on I'm not using a monitor with my MacBook. I use the trackpad, which I do. I don't use a mouse if I'm not using the monitors. If I'm not at my desk, I'll take it and I'll use the trackpad. I definitely use all the gestures on it. Switching between desktops is a killer feature. It's just really good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So speaking of monitors, let's talk about monitors real quick because.
So I think we recommend you coming into Coder Foundry and we say, man, you got to get a dual monitor setup. We think that's going to lead you to being most successful in the class is having a dual monitor setup. I think that now the thing that can be overkill. So if you're on your budget, you don't need a 4K monitor to code with. No. So like if you're using it for coding, a 1080p monitor works great. And even for gaming, 1080p is still really nice for gaming. You don't have to get a 4K monitor to do this.
This is where you can kind of save some money, isn't it? You can get
save some money.
Sub $100. You don't care about correct color representation. You don't really care about response time. You're not really playing like, you don't need 240 hertz on this thing.
So 60 hertz monitors still works pretty well.
This one's 100 hertz, look. It's a 1080 monitor for $90. And it's a brand name.
$90. Right. And
crazy.
so like, so I think you can do that. The other thing too that we didn't mention in when we talked about this, Kevin, is having arms for them instead of the stands. I think that's important. It's another kind of thing. But like, on them. Yeah, you can move the arms up and down. So they're also here on Amazon. We'll add that in there too. But like the arms allows me to adjust it like this. I can move it up and down, and then I can also flip it.
Yeah, because you want to
So,
pay
like,
attention to ergonomics, right? We've talked about having the chair right. We talked about having the, and again, the height right on the chair, height right on the desk. But the height right on your monitor is something that a lot of people get wrong. They often have it too high for ergonomics, so they're actually looking up.
your head and your neck
looking,
is like this.
exactly, so
you
you're leaned back a lot and you don't notice. The top of your monitor should be about level with your eye height, which I know when you first do it, feels weird. Because you're like, man, my monitor's like almost on the desk. It seems strange. But you get used to it and you'll find ergonomically it helps.
Yeah, it helps a lot. So like if a long day of coding and your back of your neck hurts, that means your monitor is too high because you're actually looking like this all day long.
Yep.
And that's going to hurt your neck. You need to keep your chin facing forward and down so you don't stress your neck out, and then you don't have as much pain. And neck pain, man, can lead to other things that just can make quality of life terrible.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. It's another reason why we stand up too. But like if you can get that monitor height just right, depending on how you're sitting on the desk, that's what a monitor arm does. It's just really good. So
yeah, there used to be a really good monitor arm, didn't there, on Amazon? So
Amazon Basics.
There was this Amazon Basics monitor arm, which I have. It's called Ergotron, right? And they're really expensive. They're really expensive monitor arms, and I bought one because I'm going to buy the best monitor arm. Like, why not? And they are really expensive. But they used to have an Amazon one that was it was literally the exact same mount as this, right? This is the one that I have. So $250. The Amazon one was like $100. And it was identical. I mean, absolutely.
I think Ergotron's too expensive. There's some other brands out there. Just look on Amazon. They're all really good. We're using something that starts with H.L. Wando or something like that.
Something like that. And they are cheap, aren't they?
They're nice though. They're nice. So
yeah, compared, they are very cheap. Monitor arm. You can get the ones with the multiples too, like this one. So this is the brand.
Two setup right there.
A double setup look, $60.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
Amazing. Like quality of life, like you just can't know that. Like moving that monitor around, you can push it back. You can move it forward based on how you can see things. And then just having it at the right eye level is just, I'm telling you, man, you do this for 8 hours a day. Yeah.
$10 cheaper with a coupon. So.
And the whole 2 monitors, man, pretty big. Anything up to 27-inch. So.
Yeah, and they do have a singular arm too.
Yep.
Which is even.
Now, I will say this. One thing, you click on the one there, the third one from the middle there, with the pole. So what the pole does, and this is just insight, So some guys want to stack the monitors on top of each other, and you need the pole version of this when you want that to happen. So that set it up right there, you got to have the pole. Otherwise, if you get the regular ones to the ground, you can't stack them on top of each other. So like you need to have a pole, and that's just another thing to think about. If that's the setup you want, then get a different dual monitor setup.
Yeah, and we just got one of these for me. Not a dual one, because I only have the other one, but I bought a singular one. We bought a singular one, which it's at the office. I haven't been able to pick it up yet.
Yeah.
For an extra monitor over here, because I'm going to have another monitor. Because, can you have too many monitors? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
The more monitors, the better. So I'm putting another 27-inch on the right side here to go with this. I don't know wherever my widescreen one is, I don't know what it is. Let's talk about one last thing then before we wrap up here. Let's talk about
a
couple of quick things.
Here's the thing, real quickly. Eye health is the other thing. So like blue light blocking, blue light glasses, you don't know they work until you wear a pair all day long. You're like, oh wow, my eyes aren't.
Right.
That thing, if you're getting frequent eye pain and you have eye strain in your eyes and they hurt, you need to use drops because coding dries your eyes out. There's a lot of drops out there. I would actually go to a vision doctor, ask him what the drops are. There's some of these that are just like off-brand or whatever, and then I'm using some other type of drops that my eye doctor recommended. But I use it 4 times a day, and it makes my eyes not hurt anymore, and it helps you with long-term vision care. Again, your butt, now your hands, and if you can't see, it's really hard to code. And this can have an impact on your vision, this coding all day long looking at it.
Yep. These glasses, by the way, full disclosure, we both have these. We both use them. You have prescription version, I have the blue light blocking version. Yeah, and these they're great. The quality's super good. I had a cheap pair before I had these, and they kind of like they twisted and kind of fell apart. And they had no weight to them. They were really weird. These ones are super high quality. They're really good. I definitely
Really like
these.
Pixel as a brand. I mean, we have been sponsored by them in the past, full disclosure. And if we
Yeah,
put a
they gave
link
us
out
our
there,
glasses, but they're legit.
they gave us our glasses for free, but I use them every single day. These
Yeah.
are my daily wears. So like,
They are legit.
they're legit. It's nice. So
Okay, so let's talk about one last thing then. What about learning? We're going to be biased here.
Here's the thing that so obviously learn to code. You can come to Coder Foundry, learn to code, go to our self-paced course to keep up to date. Here's why we recommend this. Here's the thing that I see when I talk to people. There's a couple of mentalities here I want you to think about. So let's say you're trying to break in, or let's say you're a 3-year, you've already have a job and someone asks you to do a coding challenge to get the next job, to get the increase in pay. I see so much pushback from this. They're like, I am not going to do that. I'm not going to take a coding challenge. I'm not going to do that. I don't have to do that. And what I want you to think about is every time that you go out and code something, build something, and put it together, think of it as not doing it for the company, but you're doing it to improve yourself. The number one thing we get paid to do is write code. And unfortunately, in my lifetime, since I've been doing this for a long time, these stacks, these languages, and everything changes. And so you need to stay up to date by learning how to code. And that means that you have to go through the grind of learning something new. You should pay attention to trends. You should pay attention to what people are talking about. You don't have to jump on every single JavaScript library that are out there. I mean, but you should read about them. You should know, like, okay, what's React doing? What's Angular doing? Like, I'm not doing that. What are they doing? Like, why do people use it? Like, what's good about it? What's bad about it? Not to argue with people on Twitter, to educate yourself, to be committed to your craft. And we say this all the time at Coder Foundry. Be committed to your craft. It's commitment to craft that allows you to have this lifestyle of like where you get paid above average. Most people don't make what coders make. And then you have all these opportunities where if you want to move to another town, you can. If you want to work anywhere in the US, you can. You don't like the boss you work for, you can leave and find a new job. It's really cool. So we have a couple projects to keep you up to date and more things coming in. So the .NET Complete Coding Bootcamp. And then inside here, we're refreshing that as we go, just to tell you kind of the plan here. We have .NET 6 MVC, which refreshes most of the stuff in the Complete Coding Bootcamp. I can't say that. And then we have Blazor content coming out this summer. So
it's going to be very. I'm editing it right now. It's going to be very, very, very soon. I'm more than 2/3 of the way through, so I'm on the final third of the editing part, and then putting the course together. So it's very, very soon.
And just full disclosure, where we're going as a school, where I think the industry is going from Microsoft-centric thing, is that you will see next year something called Web App appear in Visual Studio, and that is a united Blazor front end, Blazor back end, what was going to be called Blazor server. It's going to be one framework that is the answer to React and server-side React, server-side Angular, which they're trying to figure that out right now. Microsoft's being like the premium server-side framework on the market with ASP.NET and Web API. All of that's coming together with a world-class front-end framework that we're calling Blazor now, but it's going to, I think, call it Web App. Yeah. I'm not naming these things at Microsoft. They may call it, flapjacks with syrup. I don't know what they'll call it, but like in general, I think you're going to see a new framework. They're going to call it new. It is Blazor, what we're talking about Blazor now. So if you learn Blazor WebAssembly right now, today, this summer, over the next year, then when you come out in the marketplace, this is where they're going to be pushing this with .NET 8. Now, the thing about .NET 8 is a 3-year release, means long-term support. This is going to be the premier release for Blazor coming out. This is the coming out party for this framework, and it will supersede MVC and web forms and Razor pages. This will supplant it as what we call the first-class citizen. Then when Microsoft says, hey, you want to build a modern web app, this is how you do it. And what that does is that influences buying habits, it influences project rewrites, and influences new projects, because that's the way they're pushing out, and people are going to want to do it that way. And on top of that, it's not just because Microsoft's doing it, it's actually really cool. Like, in my opinion, it's component-based framework that is just really, really, really powerful and really cool. It answers a lot of problems that we see with React. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fanboy. I'm just telling you, I've used them both, and like building a component inside of Blazor is really cool.
And I'll tell you, I've seen you become more bullish on this since actually building this course out too. Now that you've actually like really used it and actually really built something with it, you're like, this is it. This is where it's going.
Like, this is so easy to do. Like, and so like once you get it down, you're like, man, so like how do I build a partial view? How do I build a web component? This is like typing up HTML, and it has parameters in and out, and you just pop it on a page and it'll render. The cool thing about what's coming down the pipe is it'll render on the server or in the client. And they're also got this hybrid mode where like, oh, you want to wait for WebAssembly? We'll run it on the server until it's downloaded in WebAssembly, then it'll run on the client. That's cool. So like they're doing a lot of things, and performance-wise to make it really quick. So I do think that's going to be the hot framework next year, and I think for the next multiple years. I think this is akin to when they released MVC way back, and right after the web forms released, 08, 09, and they made that front and center. This is what they're going to do with Blazor, and I think that's just going to drive a lot of adoption from a lot of people, and this is where the framework's going.
I got to say,
does that mean that? Yeah.
This is something Microsoft has to overcome, because this is very different.
It's not even the same thing,
but I get it, because you've been burned by something, and it's like it has the same kind of feel to it, but it's like
because they named
very
it
different.
Yeah. This is I would say this, Alex. The WebAssembly is a standard in the browser. So there's a WebAssembly language, and then there's JavaScript. There's two standards, two codes that run in the browser. And WebAssembly is one of them. Blazor allows you to write C# that gets compiled into WebAssembly at runtime. But it's way more than that. You don't have to run it in WebAssembly at all. Server-side Blazor just works like magic. It's using Signal R. So the things that you have to do with JavaScript or Ajax calls or whatever to keep a component updated, it just does it. Like, like you change. You have to take our AI Chef course. You'll see me change a value of a variable in the code block, and it automatically binds that to the front end like that. And I don't have to write that plumbing to do it. And that's what's so cool about Blazor as a framework. It has got all the problems that you have with React and the things that you got to do, where behind the scenes it handles all those updates. For example, it's a very minimal task to write something like, I got some comments coming down the page for a blog, and then someone adds a comment to the blog, and you're on the same page. It just shows up. That's like, cool. Oh wow, someone commented, a real-time comment, and you're like, oh, that's easy to do. Okay. Go do it, and then come back and talk to me. Like, it's not untrivial to do those types of things. You got to know how to do that and set up all this kind of stuff, and it just does it. This kind of stuff. So I'm very bullish on it. Yeah. Thanks again, Bree. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
What I would say in general, commitment to craft is the thing that's going to keep you employed and allow you to make more money. And so while you're saying, I don't want to learn Blazor because of Microsoft, all right, and I get it, like, okay, I don't like Microsoft. I've been emotionally damaged from Silverlight. But someone's going to pay you 150 grand to write a Blazor site, learn Blazor.
Yeah, jump on.
It's crazy not to learn these things. So we pay attention to these trends that are going on in the marketplace, whether that's React, whether that's Angular, whether that's Blazor, whether that's whatever, and learn about them and see where the market's going. Stay committed to your craft, invest in you. Anytime you spend building a Blazor project, whether you do it professionally or not, you're going to learn a ton of things. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then you can talk about it. The other thing I was saying, my final note before we leave, I know we're running over, Kevin, is invest in like personal relationships too. And so it's really hard to meet people that code because there's so few of us when you really think about it. You ever go to Thanksgiving dinner with your family? Like, what do you do?
Nobody else does it, right?
They have no idea what you do. You're like, websites, or I'll say I'm a coder, and you're like, medical coding? Like, what do you mean? Like, I still think today my parents don't know what I do. Child, over 50 years old. So like, it's like, come on, man.
Oh, that's funny.
So, invest in like communities. Like, there's meetups.
Yeah, about Discord.
Discord. I'm going to talk to people, meet up, and just, take part in a hackathon sometimes. You're like, I don't want to do that on the weekend. Like, really? Okay. Yeah, really. Try it out. You don't have to do it every weekend, but try it out and just see if how your skills are evolving, how they're changing. Meet other people that do the same kind of thing that you do, maybe with different tools or whatever. And I think that's good. Meet people because those people can provide you with opportunities. So invest in you, invest in your health, your butt, your hands, and your eyes. Invest in your equipment, the things that you use, and invest in your relationships. And all of that together can give you access to the greatest career, I think, that we've seen. And that's why I say when I wrote the book, Breaking the Code, coding is the economic mobilizer of our time. It can take you from one place to another and take you to things you never could imagine before. So anyway,
yep.
Hope that helps.
Definitely. Definitely. Okay, one last fun thing to
wrap
up. One last fun thing to wrap up on. Ben says flapjacks or pancakes. I know you did say flapjacks. Do you use flapjacks the word? Do you use that as a word?
Maybe I'm hanging with you too much. I don't know. So,
no, I wouldn't use flapjacks. Pancakes to me.
Yeah, I've seen them both ways.
Okay, it's pancakes to me, but I'll blow your mind now. Back home, pancakes are actually crepes. So when you ask somebody, when we have Pancake Day, like on Shrove Tuesday or whatever in the UK, that's really what you would call a crepe. So just just to really throw a wrench in the.
You said something yesterday that we made fun of you on the podcast. Kevin said this takes the biscuit, and we're like, what? You mean takes the cake?
Yeah, takes the biscuit. You know what's funny? I actually had to go look that up afterwards because I was like, I did get that right, didn't I? That is a real saying, right? I've been removed.
It is. I'm sure it is.
No, it is. It is, and I've been removed from there for a few years now, right? So I was like, I didn't misremember that, did I? No, and it's true. I did go look it up, and I was like, no, it's okay. I'm right.
We say takes the cake.
You say takes the cake here. We say takes the biscuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Flapjacks, pancakes. I don't know if there's a difference, but
Hold on. Yeah. Is this going to be a debate? Is this another thing?
Oh no. Okay.
I think
flapjacks are different.
I think it depends where you're from because I might be with Martin here because from where I'm from, a flapjack is a granola bar kind of looking thing. It's a very different premise altogether. So
I mean a pancake and a flapjack in my world are two circular things that are thin and you put syrup on them. Now, do they have different ingredients? I don't know. We need to look at that. We found a new debate, man.
I don't think they do. But a flapjack in the UK is definitely different than a flapjack in America. You're right. If you order a flapjack in America, Martin, you're getting a pancake, and you're not getting a granola bar, which is what they would call them here.
Okay, it's kind of funny.
There you go. Ben says take it to it. We'll see what happens. Yeah, let's more. That's just what we need on there, right? More. That's just what we need on there, right? More clickbait arguments over pineapple on pizza.
Flapjacks or pancakes. Well, I'm just glad you were paying attention enough to me to know that I said the word flapjack, which is amazing. So appreciate you guys hanging around. So
there you go. Yeah, thanks, Ben. Yeah. Well, let's roll. We did record another Not Know last night, so that'll come out on Monday, just like normal. If you haven't already subscribed to that, please go subscribe to that. It's available everywhere as a podcast, also on YouTube as a separate channel. We talk about more general tech stuff there. This week's got very philosophical.
Yeah, we went deep.
We went deep around AI and AGI and my buddy Elon, who has still got me suspended from Twitter. But I do have a new Twitter handle. If anybody wants to follow me on there, I am FreeKevin2023. On Twitter, it's FreeKevin2023. So you can go follow me there. Cool. Let's go get some tacos. Actually, I'm having what am I having for lunch? I'm having pasta for lunch today. No tacos today.
Okay. All right.
Leftovers.
We'll get tacos. Good luck and keep coding, guys. We'll see you later.
We'll catch you guys later.